Hello, everybody. Welcome to your AEW Dynamite review. I am Jeff, and this is my man on my left/right, whatever you want to call it, Ryan. What up, Ryan?
What up? It's your boy Ryan. You know what it is. We back at it again, doing our review. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Get out the way in the beginning. So we got to hit it hard. No, man, what's going on with you?
Not a damn thing, man. Not a damn thing.
So I
I'm
mean,
telling you.
there's some
Did you
good dynamite.
purchase anything lately?
There's great dynamite this week. Big news. I mean, I feel like we had talked about this before, though. I mean, I feel like I'm living like in a Groundhog's Day because I feel like me and you had suggested this a while back.
Yeah, it was a suggestion. Because we are great business people.
And our man TK came through. Now we're going to see what that entails. So if you watched Jeff's news show last night or this morning, you'll see he had talked about it. There's been, some rumors about what is possibly going to be happening with this news that we're talking about, and that is that Tony Khan has purchased Ring of Honor. So
that's a nutty thing to do.
Crazy, but
I was thinking about that. Like, imagine how rich you are. When you're just like, you know what I did today?
I spent $40 million.
I just bought another wrestling company for $40 million.
This is why, and we're again. Jeff probably talks about it more in the thing, but this is why my theory is that you're going to see Cody Rhodes to Ring of Honor.
They did say they're going to keep. They're looking to make it like a NXT.
That's what I've heard.
Not
like
to T, obviously, but like more of a developmental area.
Yeah, sorry.
And
not the 2.0 NXT. No. The NXT of, what was it, 2014-15 era?
Yeah.
I want to say. So that's what they're planning to make it look more like. Supposedly, though, also purchasing this gets them all the rights to All In, and that's why they're going to get their streaming service. And from what I've heard, it's going to be through HBO Max. Is a possibility.
Yes.
So these are all the rumors we talked about, heard about. Again, I think you're going to see. I think it was a whole play. I think you're going to see Cody Rhodes to Ring of Honor to be the head booker, like his dad was the head booker at one point in his career. I think that's what he wants to be. As long as I'm putting himself to win every freaking title in Ring of Honor, I don't care.
He was a good Ring of Honor world champion, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but I'm not saying don't be booking yourself to win it. You know what I mean? Don't be that booker. But I think he'd do a great job as a booker. I'm not saying he can't. I mean, he has a great mind for the business, and I think he'll do a great job. And if that's what happens, people are still saying no, he's going to WWE. I'm still
WrestleMania season is here, so for all you know, he just shows up at WrestleMania. It's like a big.
I'm just saying I'm sticking with him going to Ring of Honor, and this is the whole deal. Cody, I'm not signing you. I gotta spend more money on some more important things here, and because Jonathan Gresham is the Ring of Honor champion currently still. So
yes, which means
with Cesaro being a free agent.
Hello, Brian Danielson.
Does he go to AEW? Does he go to Ring of Honor and take over Jeremy Gresham's spot as the champ? And you get Cesaro or Claudio as the champ?
Do you sign these guys as dual contracted people?
And that's the thing. You signed on Brian Cage for another year. Why would you do that unless you want
plan on using Ring of Honor for these people?
Exactly.
And my biggest question was how are they going to get on TV? Is it going to be
because Sinclair had them before, right?
Yeah, because they bought them off Sinclair.
Yeah, so Sinclair was a TV company.
Do you think that the Warner Media Company is going to give them another show? Do you think they're willing to be yeah, let's put that would be a real huge move if you're able to get Ring of Honor back on cable TV.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a big push.
But I don't know what they're doing.
You're going to put it against. You're going to go what
at
Tuesday
the same time. It could be with the streaming deal on its back that they stream the Ring of Honor shows straight on the network, kind of like WWE did with NXT for the longest time.
True.
You would stream that on the network,
which gets
would just be a network show that still comes out weekly.
Yeah, you get your people purchasing HBO Max just to watch weekly Ring of Honor, so you get that subscription there.
Exactly.
Or do you push it to a Tuesday or a Thursday night? And I agree that the streaming deal is a good idea. But putting them on TV, I think, is a big pickup as well. But again, there's only so many slots for TV for people to watch. And people saying, hey, it's going to be like the NXT of the development brand type deal when it was at its best. But I'm Dark and Dark Elevation are sort of like that. But again, as I talked about in my review of the YouTubes this week, connecting the dots,
yeah,
Elevation has definitely, at least this week and last week, they've been slowly building it. It's more of a sign versus sign guy or girl taking on each other in which is a match like, oh, who's really going to win this match? Like, obviously, you know who's going to win, but at the same time, you're getting great wrestling by signed wrestlers who are getting their wins and their losses, but it's also making these guys look good because they're actually having a wrestling match and not a squash match for the most part.
Because I think during the pandemic, Dark and Elevation really just became independent wrestler payday.
Yeah.
For a while
they've
there,
talked about that
because
multiple
it
times.
wasn't signed guy versus signed guy. You were getting a lot of the indie guys and girls coming in to do work because that was, there was no work. Like, that was Tony Khan's big thing, was like, help everybody get some work in. So like during then, you got a lot of people who are thriving in the indies, and you're seeing them in different spots, and you're like, oh, good for them. Like, because during the pandemic, that was the way it was. I haven't watched Dark or Elevation. I will give you full credit. I don't watch it that much, just because there's only so much wrestling in a week.
I enjoy it. It's a good quick watch. Again, they're starting to tell more stories, which is what I think they've been lacking, which is why I think it's a huge pickup for them to start telling stories on Dark and Dark Elevation. But now you can tell these stories with Ring of Honor as well, and their wrestlers, and still have, make it more of an independent type company where anyone can come in and wrestle for Ring of Honor. And now, I think it's a great pickup. Like I said, but that was a huge announcement to start Dynamite, and that turned into, hey, in the first ever Ring of Honor 20 years ago, a couple of our wrestlers are currently with this company. One being, who, by the way, we haven't seen since he got his eye, which I'm assuming
so weird looking.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like semi-blind in it. I'm not sure what.
No, he was on the Chris Van Vliet. He was on the Chris Van Vliet show, or whatever he calls that now. And he said what it is like a blood vessel popped. And he said sometimes the blood doesn't escape.
Okay.
He said it could be like this for 7 years. He goes, I could wake up tomorrow and it's gone. He goes, it's just kind of like it's whether my eye wants to like.
Was that happened in the match though, right? That's what caused it
against the Bucks. Yep.
Yeah.
He said whether my eye flushes or not is really what it depends on.
But we got to see the Fallen Angel announced as the Fallen Angel finally, because they were teasing it on and off on BTE, which if anyone's seen that, and then
it's the funniest. It's one of my favorite parts of BTE.
I love it.
Him with the mic, with the Undertaker gong, basically.
Oh yeah,
and scaring the crap out of people,
and just hop behind him. And then the best was this week when Orange Cassidy did. He goes, "So that's what it feels like."
Huh. Yeah, Orange Cassidy scared him instead, and
it was quite funny.
That was thrilling. And he scared Danhausen, which I will always go with.
Yeah, got to do that. So then the other person who was in that Ring of Honor main event was a man by the name of Bryan Danielson.
That was very cool.
Neither of these men won that match. They said. I thought I heard Tony Khan say.
Yep. Yeah. Then they said it's been eating at him for 20 years.
So they go at it. Have a great match, by the way. I mean, some back and forth. Christopher Daniels looked really good in the ring. Like, he looked really, really good in the ring.
It was good to see him back, man.
Yeah, I've missed not seeing him in the ring, so it was great to see him back in the ring. They both, I mean, obviously, Bryan Danielson's going to put on a match, but again, to see the Fallen Angel back at it and wrestling and looking really good and hitting his spots, it was quite a show. And they shook hands at the beginning because that's how they always did it at Ring of Honor when it first started. And they always shake hands at the end, as Bryan Danielson said after he won the match. But you knew something was up because, one, he held on to that chokehold a little longer than regular because the bell had already rung. He still kept it there. And then he stomped his head. Danielson.
He's kind of a dick right now.
He is. And he stomped his head in. He stomped his head in really, really hard.
He said, I'm going to stomp his head in.
And then, of course, he called out Moxley. And, of course, Moxley's going to answer because you said his name.
Yeah, he called out
wrestling.
Gian.
You call anyone's name. They're coming. They're coming out. And as a heel,
Veer
is coming to Raw eventually, but not to Dynamite.
No,
and
maybe
Monster comes out and he says there are two paths I could choose. He used Crossroads, which people popped for that. For some reason, people wanted to pop for Crossroads on that hit there.
Yeah, I don't remember what's Crossroads had to do with.
Because he goes, I'm at a crossroads, or you're leaving a crossroads. I can go one way or another. And the
There's no
one way
way.
is
There's
yes,
no one
I do get my head
named
popped. I do get my
Rose
head sent in.
That's not Dustin's move.
And he goes, or I go the other way, and there you
Adrenaline
go, the
in
Cody.
the soul.
Or I go the other way, and basically I beat the living crap out of you. And he goes, you know what? I'm craving a fight. Let's go now. And obviously, Bryan Danielson, being the heel he is, pretends and then slides up the ring and goes bye-bye. And the fans boo because, again, traditional heel, great work.
And
All
you
in all,
don't
it's a
want
great.
you want to. I think you want to wait until the pay-per-view to have them physically touch anyway.
Of
'Cause I
course.
think that's like I think you're just going to get a better match out of them.
Of course, I agree. And that's where, again, great start, big announcement, huge announcement. Ring of Honor's bought, fans go crazy, which, again, great news.
Yeah.
Possibly turning into what everyone's assuming is going to be the HBO deal. That's apparently been semi-signed. They haven't announced it yet. That will be announced.
Yeah, because you're going to get 20 years of you're getting 20 years of video library instead of just hi, we're a 3-year-old company and we have like 12 pay-per-views under our belt. Like,
Exactly.
it's you can't really sell that to a large company like HBO. Like, hey, if you put us on, we'll give you like not much. Like they're all very good, and I will have no problem going back and watching each Revolution and each Full Gear and each All Out kind of things like that. But like, but still, you need more. And like they said over 40 wrestlers who are currently on the AEW roster are Ring of Honor alumni. So it makes more sense for them than it does for WWE anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there are apparently other buyers. They didn't talk about it, but there were other buyers.
You get that, because now you get the origins of CM Punk, which can be used.
Yep.
You got guys like Samoa Joe who are sitting out there, and they were huge in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to see Samoa
Shit, you
Joe
look at Bryan
again.
Danielson's Ring of Honor matches.
Yeah.
Like, people want to see that if they
You're
didn't
going
have
to
a
see
chance.
some people. You're going to see great matches, and I think it's going to bring more people over to the AEW Ring of Honor brand. Like I said, Samoa Joe's a free agent, possibly to see him over there. You have Cesaro or Claudio. You have, just a bunch of guys that are free agents that can be signed to Ring of Honor, as well as the Ring of Honor guys who, are still out there.
Of course.
Who can either, you have Isaiah Swerve Scott, who's could make a debut at
I believe
Revolution.
he signed to AEW already.
Did he? Well,
Yeah.
I've heard the rumors that he signed, but we haven't seen him yet. But again, like, all these guys that are out there that can make some big moves and changes. Then we get into the Casino Battle Royale. Tag Royale, sorry.
Yes.
15-team Casino Tag Royale. Basically, it was just like last week, except every team came in 90-second intervals. That's really all it was.
And
that's the only difference.
Well, that's because they needed the pop because Darius is back.
Well, exactly. So the first two out were FTR, and then the next two were Top Flight, because we finally get to see Darius back at it again, which is great to see Darius back there, back in it again. I'm not gonna lie, it was great to see him after a little over a year. They said.
Yeah.
So
he said a year to the day he put on Twitter afterwards. So that's nuts to think about. Like, that poor guy went for a year, watch his brother like light up the damn. But like, they were what's so good about AEW and guys like that is they didn't bring him back and just be like, okay, you're just Dante's brother. They made him look like a stud in this match anyway.
They gave him a spotlight. They gave him the final spotlight. That like
to show like he's no slouch. Like, because I think people do forget how good Top Flight is, and it wasn't always, wow, that Dante kid's really good. No, it was they are both incredible.
These brothers are phenomenal wrestlers, phenomenal high flyers, and you got to see that. And the best part about this was, and again, we said this, me and Jeff had talked about this 2 weeks ago, I guess it was now 3 weeks ago, that you're going to see, as soon as they announced it was a trios, a threesome, as everyone is calling it, for the tag titles, that it was going to be Red Dragon and the Bucks. Like, you saw it coming. But when you get Top Flight making their debut back, and the way it was going, it's like, ooh, well, you know what? They could swerve everybody, because everyone thought, oh, Young Bucks were going to win the titles originally, and they lost in the first round to Private Party. So like,
so good back then.
So like, there's always a possibility. Like, the Young Bucks are like, hey, listen, we don't want to be a part of it. Like, leave us out. So like, anything is possible with AEW and and how they book everything. So It was great to see. You had other teams in there. You had Best Friends. You had the Acclaimed, which was the best. They pointed out they basically did like a 90-second rap. Caster did until they had to get into the ring, and then they were already down to another team. And Tony Schiavone said, "That's the best idea." JR, I can't remember. I was like, "That's a great idea. Just wrap your way and just sit outside. The best way to stay longer in the match."
You get 90 seconds. You might as well use it.
Exactly. 2.0. I think they were the last team to come out. The Bucks were like the 4th or 5th team. Butcher and Blade, the Gun Club, Brock Anderson, Big Shotty Lee Johnson, Bear Country, who weren't in there that long. The Varsity Blondes, again, weren't in there that long, if I remember.
So I guess is Arn going to like just full-time manage them two now? Since
that's my assumption.
Cody's,
Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and 10 and 5. So you had 4 Dark Order members in this match.
Yes.
And then you had my boys of the Wingmen, Pretty Peter Avalon and Ryan Nemeth. It was good to see them on a Dynamite because we haven't seen them on Dynamite in a while. I've been watching them on Dark.
All the Wingmen got on this episode for the most part. Outside of
JD Drake.
Yeah, Drake is the only one, right? Because Benoni got beat up later on by
which is kind of, I was hoping they were gonna give him a little bit more of a fight like they did with.
It looks like what they're just showing with Wardlow now is they're showing him as he can even powerbomb big guys.
Because but like they gave Nick Camarado some offense. They gave Cesar nothing. I was kind of disappointed in that part of it. Because he's put in work. So it comes down to, it's great back and forth. Again, 5 and Angels got thrown out later, and then Stu and Uno. But it comes down to FTR, or no, was it Cash? I think it was Cash, the Bucks, both Bucks, and Darius. And then Red Dragon comes out, distracts Cash. No, Dax. I have to say Dax. I have to say Dax. Distracts Dax. Dax falls down. He gets knocked in the ring. He was throwing a hissy fit. They're like, oh, yay. So then it's a 2-on-1. And it was the Bucks and Darius. Darius throws out Nick, was it? And then throws out Matt, I'm pretty sure, because then Nick did like that shoestring grab onto the ropes and pulls himself up. Gets himself back into the ring. They're kicking and fighting. Then Darius looks like he's going to win it. Like he's on the edge. And then he gets kicked right into the lower region. That really, really hurts even to talk about.
He got hit in the wiener.
And the sack, and he just goes, bye-bye, and super kicks him off the side. But Darius, like Jeff said, had great showing in this. They really gave Darius his time to shine and show that, hey, listen, he's missed a lot, but he was, he's back and better and ready to go at it.
Ready to rumble, as they say. But no, that was a very good match. You did understand where it was going. Again, I'm very sad that like these stories keep getting in the way of Santana and Ortiz doing anything. It's becoming depressing at this point. I feel like they might be. It's either I can't see them as being oblivious to the whole thing. Like I can't see AEW being oblivious to the fact that like fans want Santana Ortiz as champs.
Yeah.
Like I can't see if they're that oblivious to it. I'd be shocked if they're that oblivious to this whole situation. I'm hoping it's just come kind of a build within a build here. Like, how they're very good with being complex and with their layers. I'm hoping somewhere along the line there they see that, and it's just like I understand that like this Undisputed Era Young Bucks kind of like thing. Like I understand that that's something we obviously want to see as well, and I guess you want to strike while the iron's hot there, but I don't know, man. I'm still a little bit leery on that because my only thought there is there's something that's going to go down as far as with the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? Like
unless they're doing the Ring of Honor push and they're going to put them as tag champs over there. But here's my thought, and this is why I say this is, and Jericho does a promo basically after this on Eddie Kingston, and Santana Ortiz interrupt, and Jericho asks, "Are we good?" And they nod their head yes. Yeah, so we're going to get a turn on Jericho at the pay-per-view, or we're going to get okay, so we don't. Or
maybe they could be going heel.
Or you're going to get heel, or they're going to be good with him. Eddie Kingston and Jericho going to fight it out. Kingston wins, and then they shake hands, and just they're on good terms now. But what we're going to see is All Out is in 2 months, dude. It's really 2 months away from
how's our next crate?
between these pay-per-views, I think it is.
Right.
Because we got a
Revolution
January,
has to
it's
go
February,
off
March,
before that.
April. I think it's next month.
Nice.
I want to say. Let me see. I can check away. And so I think what you're doing is you're building them to the next pay-per-view, which is only 2 months away. So you have time to build that feud to then give them the titles against Jurassic Express, because Jurassic Express have only had it for 27 days. So that'd be the least. So they'll let them hold another 2 more months, or they change it before the
I still
pay-per-view.
feel like this match is going to be...
April 8th. They ship on April 8th. So we have a little over a month till we get our next crate.
See, I feel like this trios tag match or whatever, this threesome, as they like they keep calling it. I think this is going to come down to the Bucks or Red Dragon screwing each other out of the titles.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're going to fight each other to like
and Jurassic Express is going to win.
Yeah.
And then you're going to build to Red Dragon versus Bucks at a major Dynamite or Rampage, like a big.
See, that's why I would guess then that you would have to go.
Santana Ortiz,
you would turn them
all
heel.
out.
If you turn Santana Ortiz heel and you give them, I mean, you don't have to, but you could do that, and that would give you a Jurassic Express first, Santana Ortiz babyface versus heel.
Yeah, but I'm saying they so AEW doesn't care about that as much because they had babyface versus babyface in that Lucha Brothers match, and the babyfaces won.
Of course, I did. They're both babyfaces.
So you know what I mean, it didn't matter. It wasn't a big knock. Like in AEW, they've done a really good job about I get that heel versus heel stuff, but you don't need it necessarily because they do a great work, and that was a great match, and Jurassic Express won the titles, and it didn't hurt that it was babyface versus babyface. Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree.
They could still pull that up. Again, they're only at 27 days, and SCU had it for 83. So I think we'll at least see them make it that far, or a little bit less somewhere in there. But I think the next titles are going to Santana Ortiz after this build. You have this build because, like you said, strike while the iron's hot. And speaking of which, we have to do our review show too, Jeff, for this.
For what? For
Revolution.
Oh, duh.
And we have to make our picks so I can get my title back because you don't deserve it. You're not a worthy champion. Not a worthy champion.
You're not getting it back.
So then your boy CM Punk comes to the ring.
CM Punk.
And we talked about it last week, and clearly MJF played him because he calls him out. Listen, basically saying, I made some mistakes. I've thrown people's ashes on I've thrown people's ashes on people. I've what did all they say?
So he said he poured alcohol down an alcoholic's mouth.
Alcohol through. Yeah.
He poured
made fun of
the ashes of a famous wrestler's manager on him.
Yep.
He's basically just saying he's done his shit.
He's done bad things.
Yeah.
But he needs to talk to MJF, and he's like, maybe I made a mistake in not shaking his hand. Maybe that was rude of me. And he goes to shake his hand. MJF hugs him. MJF hugs him like you expect when MJF does come out finally. He hugs him. And as you expected, you go, like, oh man, he's playing off it. He did what MJF does best.
He kicked him in the wiener.
Yep. And then punched him in his head, and Punk was bleeding like crazy.
He must have because that doesn't look like a blade. That looked like he really got him with the whatchamacallit. Like he got him pretty good with the Dynamite diamond ring. Because he punched him like boop like that right in the face. And it seemed to have really gotten him well, because he had a welt on his head, on top of the extreme bleeding that was going on in this man's face, which was absolutely bizarre. It was absolutely something different. I was just saying, do you think that was from the Dynamite diamond ring itself?
I heard you. I don't know if it was from the Dynamite diamond ring. I would assume so, but that cut was that was
like bad. There's a welt.
They don't he hit him square on. It looked like he looked like
because there was a physical welt on his head. That was
and that would have been from a slice, and they don't slice in AEW, they say.
So he got opened the hard way.
They bleed like a stuffed pig.
Yeah,
is what they do, and he did.
And it was a great visual because they were both wearing white T-shirts, which was kind of like I guess that's how they knew they were going to bleed, because the white shirts made it look like basic murder scene,
Yeah, it was definitely the
opposed
plan.
to opposed to anything else, which I thought was really cool. I thought it was very cool how they did that.
I like that. I
Obviously
like
they
how
had
they
the
had the
dog
picture on his
collar.
shirt and then he put the blood over him.
Yep, and that
That was
shirt is
pretty
now
cool.
on AEWshop.com.
I just like how it took them him getting strangled and hung up and strung up for Sting, Darby, and Sammy to come out and help him.
Yeah, you
Like,
guys just were like, let me just wait until this guy's like
let's wait till they
getting.
basically trying to hang this dude
Once
to
he's
come
trying
to
to
save
hang
him.
in the ring, then like, oh,
And then like as they pan back to Punk and his head bleeding, you see Sting's hand with a cloth come over his head to try and clear up the blood. It's like,
that's the funny part of it too, because it's like Sting, this iconic wrestler, comes out like, "Oh no, friend, you seem to be bleeding. Here's a towel."
here, let me
Like,
clean
what?
you up. It was quite hilarious. But again, it was a lot of blood. It was great. It builds to the feud, makes it more worth it, and you're gonna see CM Punk take another loss to MJF.
That's your. I can't wait for predictions because
No, I'm
that
taking
seems
Punk.
foolish.
So then, speaking of predictions, so here's where WWE usually, if the other person wins in a pre-match before the championship, that means the other person is going to end up retaining the title or losing the title, depending on who wins.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm struggling here, because in this match we had, which I talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago, when Mercedes and Thunder Rosa had that battle that they had respect at the end of it. It was going to lead to a tag match before the pay-per-view. Here it was, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter taking on Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez.
Yes.
And great match. Not taking away from the match. But we saw Thunder Rosa win with the Thunder Driver.
I get that they
And it
built
was
their
on Britt
coattails
Baker.
around Britt, but like, I feel like this, if any time is the right time, it would be now.
It's now. That's what I'm saying. So like, I'm confused because like with Thunder Rosa winning, that means she's not going to win at the pay-per-view, but she already lost at the pay-per-view or lost to her when they were going for the title before. Like, I'm like, I think it's time to switch champions. This would be the time to do it. So now I'm confused. I'm still picking Thunder Rosa, but like, I don't know. Like, it was quite confusing here because then later on, what happens? And I'm like, well, wait, does that mean? So like, as always, AEW's always got you guessing on who's going to win at the pay-per-view.
It's
They
true.
do a great
It's never
job.
like right down to the point.
They do a great job about you not really knowing.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see in wrestling, where it's not like, oh, yep, he's going to win the chamber, clearly. Like, you had a great build, and they did a great job with it. And I'm excited to see it, but like, I was just kind of thrown off because I figured Britt was going to get the win with some interference from Rebel on the side. But Jamie Hayter took her out at the end, and not Jamie Hayter, listen to me. Mercedes Martinez took them out.
Yeah.
On the outside for her to get to hit the Thunder Driver on thing. It was quite confusing, and I had to go back, and I haven't, to see when Britt won the title and she had her match beforehand. Did she beat Sheeta in a tag match or something like that beforehand?
Oh, right, before she won the actual title.
Like, I'm just curious. I don't know. And again, AEW doesn't usually stick to like one way or the other because we'll talk about later on in the final match what happened. But that. Something to think about. Then, as Jeff talked about earlier, Tiger Driver 98 was still the Thunder Driver.
Tiger Driver, yeah. Has to be called Thunder
Mr.
Driver.
Mayhem himself destroyed Cesar Bononi. Sad, because I wanted a better match out of this, but destroys him with the Powerbomb Symphony because he can, and Shawn Spears was in all about that. And then Shawn Spears goes to hit Cesar with this chair, and Wardlow grabs the chair and basically says, no. You ain't doing that here, sir.
You're seeing it now. He's slowly but surely now starting to stick up for himself.
Mm-hmm. As we talk
about, Shawn Spears looked like he had seen a ghost because he was like, oh, I don't want to be a part of that symphony.
The best is they got in each other's face, and there's not that big of a height difference, by the way. Like, Wardlow isn't that much bigger than Shawn Spears.
Weirdly, but he's bulkier.
But I
guess that's what makes him a monster.
Shawn Spears, he's built. Wardlow's jacked. Like,
Yeah.
That's a built guy to a jacked guy right there. Like just looking at that aspect of it. And I'm like, you know what? I want to see that match. And I don't want to see that 2 second CM Punk Shawn Spears match. I want to see the actual match because Shawn Spears can actually fight
Yeah,
and
I
they just
understand.
signed it.
I assume that, Shawn Spears is signing off on this, like, that he's the
Well, yeah,
deal
but
he's
I
doing
think
is what he's
again, he's a
doing,
great
but
wrestler, and I think you got to utilize him as a wrestler and not in that BS. But either way, you're gonna see that match eventually. And it was Wardlow sticking up for himself here, and then he sticks up for himself later as well.
yeah, with
And
MJF, he finally says what everybody's been thinking.
yep,
Where he says, because he said he wasn't good. He said if he wins the Face of the Revolution, he can keep it because he doesn't think he's going to win it anyway.
which happened what after this?
That was, I think so. I'm not looking at the thing at the
Because I
moment, but
think because after this, I think was the final match, right? This was the
yeah,
final match for the card. I don't think we're missing anything.
no. Let me see.
So right after that, basically, MJF gets in his face and says, I own you, basically, which is like, okay, but he's wrestling for Tony Khan's company of AEW, but he works for you. So, okay, cool, which is fine. But I'm just like, well, all right, you fire him, go ahead. I'm pretty sure Tony Khan, like, yo, I'll sign you next day, like as a storyline. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, exactly.
you can play that storyline off. And I think that's where they're building to because he said, hey, the only reason you're winning matches is because of me. And that's when he got slapped by MJF and then said, I feed your family. So again,
Now,
great.
see, since it keeps saying he isn't a contracted AEW wrestler, right?
That's my only struggle with this whole storyline right now.
I could
That's
see
it.
him I could see like a Tony Khan or something pulling like AMJF. Now he is. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And like that kind
Yeah,
of.
like in the middle of the ring when he's belittling Wardlow, Tony Khan comes out and is like, hey, by the way, I just signed Wardlow. And then he just goes off and just powerbomb Symphony's MJF through the friggin' mat. I mean,
Exactly.
because he goes, hey, if you win the TNT title, I'll let you keep it. Like, I'm like,
Like, do you want to keep it or not?
But
Or
like,
you
I
just.
think the issue I'm struggling I'm having here is like, if MJF is the next champion, you would think, although with this Adam Cole thing, I'm not sure now. But if MJF is the next champion, you want him to be a strong champion. You need Wardlow to back him.
Yes.
So like,
And that's the issue that's coming to hand now. It's the opposite issue that
you're teasing it.
and what WWE has. WWE's issue is there's no main eventers. You can't find more than 4 people to main event anything, and the title picture looks weak. AEW, you can already line up 4 or 5 people you'd love to see as world champion.
Yeah, exactly.
That are like main event material, and you wouldn't go like that seems silly. Like if you put a title on CM Punk, that's fine. If you put a title on MJF, that's fine. If you put the title on Adam Cole, baby, that's fine. Like these guys are all right from the jump. That's not even counting like a Darby Allin. That's not counting eventually Sammy Guevara once he's done the TNT title run. I think he has a little bit more mic work to do before I think he becomes world champion. But I think like all those pillars, yeah, you can sign them up right away to be champs.
Exactly.
And then, like you said, Bryan Danielson hasn't won the title yet.
Nope.
So like you have so many guys that are big title material that you can use at any moment. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you can pull the trigger whenever you want, and he wants to. But again, the AEW has done a great job with majority of all the champions of having a long reign,
and that's the issue.
And I'm okay with it. At the same time, kind of like, oh man, I would like some shorter reigns here and there, but like I want to see guys have a longer reign.
I think like a guy like Bryan Danielson, he doesn't have a terribly long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Or CM Punk. Like I don't want them to win it 3 years down the line. I don't, you know what I'm saying?
But again, with the purchase of Ring of Honor, they don't have to be AEW champ, but they can become Ring of Honor champ if you use the Ring of Honor title as, I'm not saying a pass along, but like,
I understand what you're saying.
You can have that title be lost a little bit more frequently than this one.
Right.
Type of
but
deal.
You just don't want to like, if you're telling everybody it's that the AEW title is the most prestigious prize in pro wrestling, you can't then go and pull the, a Ring of Honor talking like, no, this is also pretty damn prestigious. Like you gotta like pick one or the other. Even though Gresham's still holding it, So there's going to be some fun stuff that comes out of that.
Champ
Man.
versus champ is what we'll see eventually.
Oh,
So
I'm in.
the 6-man tags up next. You get Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly taking on
Johnny
Alex Reynolds,
Hungy, Alex
Johnny
Reynolds,
Hungy.
and the Cowboy himself.
And they both all came out dressed as cowboys. It was great. I thought
That's
I love I love how that happened.
The symmetry.
This is a great match. They pointed out a lot that Adam Cole was being very judicial in how he approached the ring and when he wanted to get his spots in, and basically like he did when he was in NXT, same type of deal as he used the Undisputed Era. He would make his moves when he wanted and let them do all his work. And that's what you're seeing in this match. Like, hey, I got a title match. I'm not going to put in all that work. And it was a smart way to play it, whereas Paige was in there fighting a lot more. And,
let your opponent get worked over. You don't have to do all that yourself. Let them get worked over and go from there.
Exactly. And then if they need help, jump in and help. A lot of back and forth, a lot of great wrestling. You had Johnny Hungy doing Johnny Hungy type stuff.
He was hungy.
Reynolds looked good. They did I think it was Reynolds and Silver came in. They each did a drop kick to O'Reilly and Fish, or they did a double drop kick to Fish. I think it was after they dropped somebody else or Cole, and then they drop kicked. Then Alex Reynolds drop kicked Kyle O'Reilly. There's a lot of drop kicks. It was like a drop kick party. It was a super kick party. It was a drop kick party.
There's a lot of drop kicks.
And again, it was a great sequence. You had a lot of great moves, and then it ended though. And again, we're going to talk about it, Jeff. It ended with Adam Cole getting the win by lowering the boom onto Alex Reynolds, his sleeping buddy at times in BTE world.
That's going to have some backlash tomorrow.
And he is the BTE champ, by the way, as well. So put that out. He is currently the BTE champ, Adam Cole. So
he's trying to be Adam 2 belts,
I guess. So again, I'm struggling here. So Adam Cole gets the momentum. I'm assuming Paige wins. I'm picking Paige here. And again, we'll talk about it more in the review. But this is where AEW is like, all right, are they going to give him the win to then, hey, you get this win to lose? But then with Thunder Rosa getting the win, does that mean, hey, you're giving her the win to then lose the pay-per-view? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like both challengers won. One challenger pinned the champ. The other challenger pinned not the champ. So
yeah, the straight up pinning the champion thing is a little bit strange. So like the Thunder Rosa one, but that their feud is so long and ridiculous that like there could be, there's I guess that is different. But I still feel like that they're going to finally pull the trigger on Thunder Rosa.
I feel you have to at this point. Like you can't
hold off, dude. Like she's. I think there's you need to freshen that up a little bit. I love Britt Baker. I think she's done a hell of a job lifting that title from where it has been. Like we all loved Sheeta, but Sheeta never had that. She always struggled with the personality of it. Like you have to build feuds with a little bit of sports entertainment from time to time, kind of thing. And Sheeta just didn't have that extra. Like our wrestling skills were definitely better than Britt's. You know what I'm saying? Like as a wrestler, there's a 0% chance that I'd pick Britt to wrestle over Sheeta. I think Sheeta will put on better overall matches, but she did lack it. I think it was in one of my newses not too long ago. How she opened up about how hard it is to. It's a little harder for the Joshis in AEW because where AEW kind of wants you to pitch your own creative and such, it's harder for her with the language barrier and such to really like her English has gotten a lot better, she said, but she said still it's very hard for us as Joshis to kind of like get our creativeness up up there. She said because
that. It makes sense.
Especially now, she goes in the beginning, like the Joshis were like what was focused on in AEW. Like the women's division was like 80% Joshi.
Before, and then they got pushed to the side now.
Yeah, and they said now they brought in so many different diverse talents that it's hurting them, but like it's she also knows that like you got to put in the work and figure it out one way or another if you want to stay here. So, but yes, to your point, yeah, I think Thunder Rosa needs to get this title now because now that it's been elevated. I think Thunder Rosa with how she still wrestles indies and she headlines all these different shows. I think that puts the title on yet a different level. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're gonna have, you can have her show up to GCW with the title, or or a Terminus, or any of these Defy, or she shows up pretty much everywhere. Like she just had a match with Athena, like I think in Warrior Wrestling maybe like a couple weeks ago. Like
Yeah, she's been
she's
all over the
everywhere.
place.
So to have that title and bring it everywhere, I think that's going to give a little bit more prestige to the title as well. So.
Yeah, but like that's the thing though. Do you think you're going to see her all over the place anymore? Because AEW does a good job at when you become the champ, you don't see them wrestle as much. You don't see them all over the place as much.
Yeah, well, like John Moxley had carte blanche to just run around like a crazy person.
Moxley did his thing.
But I think that Thunder Rosa is the same way. Like because I think a lot of this getting these talents to AEW, it doesn't hurt when you see Thunder Rosa there and she's telling you about how she loves this company and still gets to do all these dates she wants. Because it is said that Tony Khan likes them to make their money. Like, do your thing. Like, if you can get money in independent bookings, also do it. Like, I'm not going to stop you from.
I'm not holding you back.
So it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm going to go with Thunder Rosa on that. But as far as the main event, I don't know. It's so back and forth with that right now. You don't know who's going to. You really don't know who's going to take it.
No, because like I would assume that Adam Cole gets his first loss against Adam Page because this is their rubber match. Because Cole won the first match, Page won the second match, or vice versa. I can't remember which. I talked about it last night. So you had both guys have a win over each other. So this is the rubber match.
Mm-hmm.
And if you purposely did the Orange Cassidy feud from the be undefeated to then lose to Page, it makes sense. Like otherwise, there's no point to that unsanctioned match. I put in quotation marks because let's be real, it wasn't that unsanctioned.
No, nothing unsanctioned about it.
Then you have that. So I don't know. We'll see what it comes down to. We have a great Rampage this week. Got a trios match for the TNT title with Andrade and Darby Allin taking on Sammy Guevara. We have Serena Deeb's 5-minute challenge. We have who am I missing? I missed somebody else. There's something else. Keith Lee gets a match.
Yeah, Keith Lee's going to get a match.
He gets a warm-up match. Because Ricky Starks, that's the other thing. Keith Lee was in it for Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs earlier, and I can't believe I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really that. The buy-in is going to be Hook taking on QT Marshall. So we'll get to see Hook on the buy-in, and we get to see...
Hook finally gets a pay-per-view shot here?
Yep, and we get to see Layla Hirsch taking on Chris Statlander.
Statlander told her that she deserved to be adopted.
Yep.
That's some ballsy shit.
That was, again, being AEW, I'm assuming they talked about it first.
Yeah, I don't think that was like a shot because it was a produced trailer. It wasn't a...
Yeah. And
so I think okay.
And if you watched Unrestricted with AEW with Tony Schiavone and Aubrey Edwards interviewing Layla Hirsch, she goes into detail about that. And I watch all that stuff, but I just finished watching that one because I've been behind on a couple of them. And great story and everything, how she's made the change on stuff and from all those years ago when she got came up from Russia, her and her sister. But like that you knew it was gonna they gotta hit home. They always make that point of hitting home with one of these feuds. So it's like, do you give it to Layla Hirsch or do you give it to Chris Statlander because Statlander is the bigger star right now? But Layla Hirsch has been put on a show and is a star in her own right. I'm not taking anything away from her. It'll be interesting to see. I'm excited for this match. Chris Statlander said that you're going to see a meaner Statlander this time around too. So
it looks like Rampage. I'm looking it up here while I'm doing this thing. So Rampage for March 4th, right? That's tomorrow.
Yep. That's the Orlando show.
Darby, Sammy, and El Idolo.
Yep. That's the Trios TNT match.
For the Trio TNT.
Yep.
Serena Deeb, Keith Lee, Christian Cage, and Ethan Page.
Oh, that's right. That's the buy-in for
and a
the
qualifier
sixth
for the
spot.
ladder match.
That is the last
Do you
qualifying spot
do
minus
you think
the
they give that
surprise.
to?
The
Do you
surprise.
think they
There's
give
still
that
a
to?
surprise because there's 7 people in that match.
Do you think they give that to Ethan?
I think they give it to Ethan only because I mean I guess you give it to Christian, but I'm gonna say Ethan. One for the youth, and two because of there's a pot. So there's two ways about this ladder match. I'm still if Ethan wins this match is where I'm gonna have to like go back and forth. My thought is right is they originally gonna give it to Wardlow to win
This
the
is a
TNT title.
live one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's live in Orlando. You give
I
it
was gonna say because I
to
just went to go to the spoilers and there isn't any.
yeah no you give it to Wardlow because he's a beast. You know he wins the ring right. Perfect sense. He gets
Right.
a TNT shot. But if you have Ethan Page win this match on Friday, right? Here's how I book it. Ethan Page wins the match on Friday. He goes to the ladder match, right? He wins the ladder match, Ethan Page, because Scorpio Sky won the last one. Scorpio Sky beats Sammy Guevara for the title shot, the title, before because he gets the deal was that with Tony Khan from your boy Dan Lambert is he gets a shot before the winner of the Face of the Revolution ladder match. He gets the shot beforehand. So clearly, they're not doing it now. They're not doing it on Revolution. Ethan Page wins. Scorpio Sky wins, and then you break up Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky because they have to fight each other for the title.
I dig it. I can dig that because like men of the year are all right, but like
I love the Men of the Year. I love those two together. I just think if you're going to build that, that's how you build that fight right there. If not,
oh yeah,
you give it to Wardlow, and Wardlow wins. My thing is I want Scorpio Sky to win this TNT title. I think he deserves it. But
I think so too. But I don't know
if you give
fair.
if you give Wardlow the brass ring, then Scorpio Sky's losing that title right away. Like you're not gonna have Wardlow lose to Scorpio Sky. No offense to Scorpio Sky. I just don't think you're gonna in his first attempt at a title. I don't think you're gonna take that away from Wardlow. I think you're gonna give him his first shot, first win type of deal. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree.
So
I
if
agree
anything,
100%.
you build the Men of the Year up, and they either have a feud or they're like, hey, we're friends. We're gonna fight to the end, and best man standing type of deal. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
But we'll see what happens there. Anything else from you, Jeff? Because we got
no man. Let's roll the hell out of here before it becomes the longest podcast of all time.
Sounds good to me. Stay tuned for our AEW Revolution review as well as Rampage, our prediction shows for Revolution as well as Rampage, and anything else we decide to come up with in the meantime. If there's more news, maybe Jeff will hop on for some more news in between there.
Yes, sir. So yeah, again, guys, please like, follow, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so that you know when we go live.
I don't know where it is. I think it's
or
over
when
here.
we put up video on. It's not on any. Yeah, we just have it right.
It should be down here on this side.
That's a YouTube, and then on your side is a Twitch.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you're watching on YouTube, I think it's on your side, like below you, the bell.
Yeah.
Somewhere
so
in that
bell,
area.
do all that good stuff. Keep on supporting. We appreciate every second of it. So Ryan or me, one of us will be back from Rampage on Friday, and there will be a Revolution preview show at some point before Revolution. So until then, I'm Jeff, and that's Ryan, and
We'll
we
see
out
you
of
next
here.
time.
Peace.